Yeah, exactly. I had 40 demos and I got one interview. And truly, I wasn't qualified for any of the jobs that I sent out for. But yes, Sky Captain was looking for very junior people, and it was perfect. It was my first big break into the industry, and it was a small, that movie was basically made in a warehouse in Van Nuys, California. I didn't go to school for animation. I took some flipbook classes in college, but actually I majored in fine arts and media communications. So it was mostly film and video production and contemporary art, which isn't so useful in 3D animation. But on the media side, I took a few flipbook courses and I fell in love. I was like, I really, really dig this. The animation is really fun. And the school that I went to didn't have an animation program, so it kind of started and ended right there. But then when I met my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, after college we went off to California together, and the first thing she found for me was a 3D training center for 3D animation. And so I did that, and 8 months later I had a certificate of 3D animation, but it didn't amount to much because I didn't have a demo reel. So I remember calling a headhunter, and I told her I knew Softimage, and she told me Softimage was a dinosaur. And she said I better learn something else like Maya, so I started doing book tutorials. This was before YouTube. I started doing book tutorials on teaching myself Maya. Long story short, in about 8 months of working full-time and trying to do animation on the side and teach myself animation, I cobbled together a short film. I submitted 40 demos to different companies, and I got one interview, and that was with Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. And I nailed the interview, and I got the job, and the rest is pretty much history, because the first job is always the hardest to get in the industry. That's been true for as long as I can imagine. Sky Captain was a group of people that used to work at DreamWorks Images and Disney. And after Sky Captain disbanded, I stayed with those guys for a little while, and they created a company called Unit 11. And then eventually they got me in contact with people at Disney, where I became an animating assistant on Meet the Robinsons. And it was while I was there that I was using their rigs, their full-blown feature animation rigs on Meet the Robinsons, to do tests at night while doing my assistant job during the day. And those tests eventually got me into the apprentice program for Disney. That was amazing. Dale Baer was my mentor. And after the apprentice program, I graduated to be a full-fledged character animator for Disney on Bolt. And that was my first job as a feature animator. So I spent the last almost 10 years at DreamWorks, and that was amazing. And then I got to a point where I wanted to change. The family wanted to change. We wanted to try something new. And so we moved across the ocean, and I moved the family to London. I'm now an animation supervisor at DNEG Feature. They started a feature animation branch of their long-term visual effects tradition. So it's been super exciting. It's brand new. We're building the bridge as we go, and every day is an adventure. That movie was basically made in a warehouse in Van Nuys, California. And it was a small ragtag group of people like myself who had never made a movie before, and because of that we got to wear a lot of hats. We wore, if you had to model something or rig something, or we would do pre-viz to final, so we would pre-viz the scenes and then take them to final animation on many, many, many scenes. I think Steve told me once I pre-vized 60% of the film myself. So I've never had that kind of an impact on a film since then, because it was robots and airplanes, a lot easier to animate than dragons, you know. But it was an amazing experience to start out learning so much about the whole process. I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't start at Disney. I would always start on Sky Captain, because I feel like it really put me on the path of having a larger view than just my specialty. Although now I love that specialty, but I think the larger view helps me be better at that.